Welcome to this comprehensive snapshot presentation on a detailed introduction to ISO 9001-2015. I am Captain I.J. Arora, the President and CEO of Quality Management International. I have an MSc, MBA, etc., but most relevant, I have done my doctorate in process-based management system. This is my subject, and I hope that this short presentation will prepare you for the changes that are coming with 2015. The idea basically in this presentation is that you understand the structure, you understand the approach, and those of you who are already experts in ISO 9001 also benefit so that you are clear on the changes between the 2008 and the 2015 version. Please remember that all standards hereafter, this is not one of those tweaking things. This is not like one of those small little changes. This is a fundamental change in our thinking, a very fundamental change in our thinking, where ISO 9001 had 8 clauses, and in those days reading simultaneously for other standards, each standard had different number of clauses. You could not put them together. Hereafter, every international standard will have the same 10 clauses. And so therefore, ISO 9001 has moved on to the high level structure, which is a common set of clauses. So is 14001, the environmental management standard. So is the IT security standard, ISO 27001. Presently, the ISO 18001 is undergoing a change, and we are soon going to have the ISO 45000 available to us, which will again be in the same high-level structure, same clause numbers, same sub-clause numbers, same definitions. It makes everything so much easier, simpler, especially if you are looking at a coordinated approach to handling the station. In all our understandings of the standard, the fundamental has not changed. The fundamental is that we use the PDCA cycle, which you see on the screen. That is the plan, do, check, act. In all that we do, and I don't say on these high things, great organizations, some HP, Apple, Amazon, why at a national level, and you go right down to a family level, just a family making a decision. Please remember, you need to plan. Don't go and implement, don't jump into a ditch. As the good old days we used to say, look before you leap. This is exactly look before you leap. Make a good plan, go and then implement that plan. And as you implement, don't forget that through the implementation stage, you must check that plan. And in larger organizations, or what we are going to do with ISO 9000, go ahead and audit. If you conduct inspections, well then let the inspection inputs also come in. If you have any feedback from customers, yes, please bring that also in at the check stage. So a wonderful plan, correctly implemented, correctly monitored at the check stage. It is like our president reports to us the state of the nation. Similarly, the organization must report the state of the organization. How is it? And that will be based on these audits, inspections, feedbacks, any other inputs. Having done this, the cycle does not stop here. It goes to the act stage, and this act stage is synonymous with what the leadership does. The leadership cannot wash its hands away and tell its staff, you do what you have to, leave me out. Those days are gone. You cannot be taking your corporate jets and flying around to play golf. You need to work hard. Today's leadership is dynamic, it is challenging, and one of the duties is to do that management review. So at the act stage, relook at all these inputs, review them, come out with outputs so that the plan can be modified, changed as required, re-resourced to ensure that there is competent manpower performing what it had to do. So your question can be, this is exactly what the PDCA cycle did when we used ISO 9001-2008. So what is the fundamental change? For all of you who are new, I will explain it. For those of you who are used to ISO 9001-2008, please understand that preventive action, which was a major part of implementing an efficient management system, was tucked away in the last clause of the system as 853, if you recollect. It came at the end. You went through the planning stage, you went to the do, you did the check, and you came to the act stage. Too late. You almost sometimes waited for 8 to 9 months for the data, information to be generated by the system for you to do preventive action. The new standard has brought about a fundamental change, a sea change. It says it's too late waiting for 8-9 months. This is a changed world with technology, global connectivity. You have Google. You ask a question, Google will give you the answer. When so much of international data is available, why are you waiting to generate data? Please appreciate the risk at the plan stage itself and continue to generate and assess the risk all through. That means at the plan stage, at the implement stage, at the check stage, at the act stage, and make the plan again. So much so that the new standard now defines a new term, context of the organization. And I will come to that in a minute. Now you see this slide in front of you, which is giving you, as I have tried to convey, an analogy of a smoking volcano. In this smoking volcano, what you see in the center is the gaseous stage. The peak is solid, the bottom is solid, meaning you have the leaders sitting on top and those who actually conduct the job, who actually do the job, the middle and the lower managements and the working employees. They are using their standard operating procedures and doing what they have to do. Both sides believe that we are doing what the management wants and the management hopes that they are doing what we want. But there is a big disconnect, which is the gaseous stage. And that big disconnect is removed. That gaseous stage is removed. Customer expectations are better met when there is a management system. And for that management system, why would you reinvent the wheel? There is ISO 9001. It has been around for all these years. And now we have the revised ISO 9001-2015 to meet your fundamental requirements of the base for going ahead with the management system. So if you are ready to go in for the management system, you are ready to implement the 2015 version, let us look at this process model. Once we have understood this, I will come back again to the 2015 and the changes and back to the PDCA cycle. What you see in front of you now is an input stage, and you see the work stage, and you see the output. This fishbone diagram explains clearly that your job is to convert the inputs into outputs. You also appreciate here that when you do the work with your equipment, facilities, resources, skills and knowledge, your competent manpower, you have your procedures, methods and control. There is that one rib of the fishbone diagram, the care and coordination. Please remember, this care and coordination is again synonymous with the top management. That means leadership is integral to the success of the work done to produce the desired output, meeting the requirements of the customer. So why are we looking at this? We are looking at this that yes, there can be slippages, there can be non-conformities. But if the non-conformities result in non-conforming products, that means at the output level, we actually have a Honda car, a Toyota car, a Chrysler, whatever. Say a car has gone in the output and 15 days later after the car is sold, you find a major blunder in it. You have to recall the product. Recall is one loss. It's a large loss. But the second and the greatest loss is that your reputation is killed your organization will suffer for a very long time because of the bad reputation created. It happens to hospitals who make mistakes. It happens to universities where mishaps occur, students are bullied and various things. So please remember, whenever a non-conforming product goes out to the output stage, the organization will bleed and pay for it all the time. So the intent of the organization is to put in place a system which will find the non-conformities within the system, within the work, before it goes out to the output stage. And ISO 9001, if correctly implemented as a system, is going to help you run your processes and your system so that non-conforming products will not go out into the output stage. So therefore, the new standard has brought in a risk-based thinking, and here I would like to bring and introduce a new word to you, which is context of the organization. It's very interesting. What the standard says is, or what the standard wants it, is that you understand what is the kind of work you do. You are a university. You are producing students. They are going to go out and become citizens. Are you conscious in the context of the organization that your product could be a criminal, murderer, a rapist, or a wonderful, excellent, top-notch citizen of the country? So please remember that these understandings of the context of the organization matters. I'm about to do a heart surgery. This is a hospital. We deal with patients. They could die. We cannot have the blood mixed up. Every test must be done correctly. Context of the organization. We are a family. We are bringing up children. Context of the organization. I am a general. I am about to deploy the army in Afghanistan. Do I have the logistics and the rest of the ducks in a row? Because I make any mistake in the appreciation, I've got dead Marines. I've got dead soldiers. It's a matter of life and death. Context of the organization. So the new standard requires you to appreciate this context of the organization. I therefore take you back to the PDCA cycle, to the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. Please remember, in ISO 9001-2008, you could wait for the preventive action, where you would take preventive action based on the inputs, the data, the information collected on trends, etc., almost 7-8 months later down the line. But the new standard says no. Please understand the context of the organization and appreciate the risk inherent at the plan stage itself. Please remember, preventive action is not the baby which has been thrown out with the bathwater. It is right there, only it has been renamed risk and has been brought to the plan stage, actually to the pre-planned stage. Don't even plan the organization if you are a new organization, if you have not gone into SWOT analysis, considered the viability of the business, etc. All right. Please remember, the other point which is very important is, it is not a tucked away clause. It requires you to appreciate the risk all through at every stage in clauses 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 of the new standard, which means plan stage, do stage, check stage, act stage. At every stage, the risk is being appreciated. Please remember, risk also had a negative connotation. Risk has always had, in fact, a negative connotation. We always think risk as a danger. But please remember, the new definition of the risk brings in a new concept, and it says, please also consider risk as an input for opportunity for improvement. For example, you consider the risk and you say, I have a new idea. This risk, let us not mitigate it. Let us instead modify it completely. A new idea comes, a new fuel will come in, a new method, a new engine, a new medical practice, a new look, immunization in cancer treatments. Not just treating the cancer, but looking at the immune cells. So please remember, you can bring in complete innovative ideas as a consequence of the appreciated risk. In the following slides, which I don't wish to cover, which will be there in this course package, you can see that how some of the terminology has changed between 9001 and 2015. ISO 9001-2008 was applicable to products and services, but the standard per se was a stretch for services. With the new standard, it is for products and services. So all those who are in the service-oriented work and organizations, it is there for you. Please remember that earlier there were exclusions allowed. For example, if you were the federal highways, if you were one of those companies which did tunnels, tunnels, bridges and so on, you could get an exclusion and say, but we don't design them, we buy them. We will show you a great method, we will show you a matrix, we will show you a procedure by which we select the construction company carefully, and therefore it is reliable for you as a customer. Now the standard says no more exclusions. Every time and each time you justify. If you are being audited, you will be asked, why, since you don't do this, how do you ensure that the product is reliable? Which means more onus, more responsibility, and more coverage of the risk by the leadership and the management. So please remember, these are some of the changes. Have a look at them. They have been put there for you. Please also look and see that there are major changes in the basic principles itself. There were earlier 8 principles. Now there are 7 principles. And in changing this, some of the wording has been changed. It looks similar. It isn't. It says focus on the customer. What does it mean? It means appreciate the risk in the context of the organization. Understand it well. Only then can you be a good leader. Only then can that organization work. Only then can it involve the personnel and the employees to be able to meet the customer focus. And it says, therefore, since you have understood the context of the organization, you have appreciated the risks. Risk appreciation has taken you to risk mitigation, or alternately given you the opportunity for improvement to come out with a new innovative idea. You are ready to use your process approach, your system approach to produce the product, go on to improvement, and to continually improve it by using evidence-based decision making. So you started with whatever data was available, and now you have your own data added to it. So it is a more robust principle for management, and in this way you will also manage relationships, you will have more committed customers, and at the inner end you will have more committed employees, all of us working together to meet those goals that the customer has set for us. Please remember, you will have a better dashboard. You will also, in this summing up diagram, be able to see that while the inputs are resulting in outputs by operations, which are covered by clause 8 of the system, you are also getting customer feedback. You are also looking at the inputs from other stakeholders. All this is going into performance evaluation under clause 9, which leads to the leadership being totally prepared under clause 5. Back to the plan, and it goes on and on and on so that the customer gets the desired outputs. And we have put continual improvement outside of it. What it means is, continue to approve or improve, but at the same time provide the product. And of course, you will require support, you will require resources, you will require the support procedures like hiring, training, and good competent manpower. So that too has been placed there. So you find this wonderful new diagram which looks a bit complex, but please don't be awed by it. It simply makes it easy for you. It tells you go to 5-6. That means leadership will do the planning. Seek the support. Go ahead and do the operations. Then evaluate them. Feed it back to leadership, and therefore ensure continual improvement. Therefore improvement will take place. This particular diagram that I put before you, I used it for my doctorate also. It basically tells you that if you measure non-conformities, or if you draw non-conformities against time, when you first implement the system, you expect the non-conformities to rise, to shoot up. It is not that the non-conformities have gone up. It is just that your employees now have started reporting non-conformities. It is the first time when the top management should congratulate itself that our non-conformities have shot up, implying that our organization has become so mature that people are now reporting non-conformities. And of course, as the non-conformities are reported, you will do correction, which is what you do immediately. For example, if you see a fire, you don't go into a corner and discuss, for example, what could be the causes. That's not the time. That is the time to put off the fire. So what you do immediately, urgently, quickly on seeing a non-conformity or a non-conformity being reported is correction. Thereafter, in the given time, you do root cause analysis, which is corrective action. So you do corrective action. And as you go through this process of correction and corrective action, eventually, in about a year, 6 months, depending on the size of the organization and the kind of the work you do, the non-conformities will start coming down. Please also note that on the same axis as the non-conformities, as you close the non-conformities, your database is also going up. Please remember, the only bad non-conformity is the one which you haven't heard about, which you don't know about. So it's wonderful non-conformities are being reported, because as you close them, they become data points. And the data points collected will give you a database. So your database is rising. And as you can see with the horizontal dotted line, at a certain threshold of the database, there is enough information available within the management to be able to make better decisions. You find the organization becomes a socially responsible organization. The organization is now perched to innovate. Risk appreciation is a lot faster. And therefore the organization moves forward, non-conformities come down, new innovative ideas come up, and your business bottom line improves. Please remember, the measure of every PDCA cycle working is that you will see the bottom line improve. There is no doubt at all about it. So I would like to thank you. I hope this has been beneficial to you. It is basically to bring to you the major changes, and in summing up, first appreciate the context of the organization. PDCA cycle is same, but the preventive action is gone and replaced with risk, which is considered at each stage. Records have been removed, and now you have documentation. And the decision on the documentation required is to be made by the management. Exclusions have been removed. You have to justify what you do and how is it in the best interest of the customer. The requirement of the quality manual is gone. And that's a wonderful requirement which has been removed. It is wonderful because now you can have whatever you require on your website, on your intranet. You do not need to duplicate it into a quality manual. If you still need it, you are welcome. But the standard does not mention it. So all these wonderful changes, there are many more. I only mentioned the salient features for you, and thank you very much for this.